Well, within the United States, I think we're on a better trajectory than many other countries because there's also been a lot of involvement from the private sector, recognition that this is important. There's been recognition from philanthropists like Michael Bloomberg, who's devoted a considerable amount of funds actually to help communities which are going to transition away from coal. The challenge is, the G7 versus also the G20, which is where I think the action is needed because the G20 includes countries where the transition away from coal has been much less strident. And of course, that is partly out of necessity because you do need baseload power generation for electricity delivery. And unless we have very large storage capacity for renewable energy, we need other sources of baseload power, and the only ones which are practical right now are either nuclear or fossil fuels. And so that has been a big problem in terms of the transition away from coal for countries where the demand is growing rapidly, as is the case in, of course, the more rapidly growing economies of Asia.
I don't think China has committed to seriously to phasing out coal by 2035, even though the country does have a plan to phase down coal in the coming decades there. So at this moment, in particular short term, and because of the disruption of the COVID, and now because of the war in Europe, and the coal definitely is coming back, and for the sake of the energy security and stability at this moment. But in the meantime, there's a very exciting side, is the unprecedented level of progress investing in renewable energy, alternative energies there. So for China, the story is not simply about coal, specific fuel. Rather, it's rebuilding or restructuring a new energy system. So within that system, coal probably will continue to have a certain level of role in the coming decades. But more and more, you started to see the ratio from non-fossil fuels, in particular renewable energy, at this moment, really gearing up to transform actually the energy system there. I think that's the most exciting part. Besides the fuel, and if you look at China's current plan in the landscape of the 14th five-year plan, we have pretty much made all the specific actions, the targets on the table in a systematic way. We talk about energy storage, we talk about grid infrastructure, and we talk about buildings, transportation, industry, power. So you started to see systematic transformation, I call it a clean energy transformation in this country ongoing now, even though facing all the difficulties or disruptions, around the world at this moment.
Right.
Short-term coal will continue to be there, but mid to longer term, I think definitely the transition, particularly from China perspective, is a much accelerated process.